Wow. Welcome to the first and hopefully annual Sportsmanlike Misconduct Holiday stream. Preparing all of this little setup you see right here, there's a lot more to it, I swear. Kicked my ass. I started about 20 minutes late. I was working from all night to literally 30 seconds ago trying to set this up. Spent a lot of money that went to waste because I don't know how to work electronics, but we are here finally. Sorry I'm late, but let's kick it off. Start with, let me just introduce myself. You guys don't really know a lot about me besides the fact that I like football. I am currently a college student. I go to Full Sail University. I am majoring in sports broadcasting, and I have used some of the tools in my few months at that college trying to help build my YouTube channel. Of course, I'm trying to find a career, but if I can make a career out of this, that would be pretty badass. So I'll put my my lessons to this too. We had quite the year on YouTube this year. We hauled in 97,000 views and gained 483 subs over a total of 73 posts over 2 live streams, 38 videos, and 38 shorts, I believe. So I had some goals before the year started, and those goals were reach 500 subs. We almost completely doubled up the goal total. At least we almost passed the goal total in terms of we got 483 subs, and we are currently sitting at 690, and that's absolutely insane. We passed the 4,000 hours of watch time mark, crushed it. And another goal was get weekly content out, which was pretty consistent throughout the year. Some weeks I didn't get it, but some weeks I posted multiple times. And the last goal was more social media use. That was not even fucking close. I was really bad on Instagram and really bad on TikTok, but we'll see if that changes this year. Hopefully it does. We still had a killer 2023, and it couldn't have been this way if it weren't for you guys. Whether you left a positive comment, a negative comment, a like, or a dislike, helps motivate me to keep going, keeps it fun. I actually enjoy reading the hateful comments, believe it or not. I've had some pretty unique ones. I won't get too into them because they're not quite appropriate, we should say. But yeah, we're entering year 3 of the channel. We have some big goals. And another person who has some big goals coming up in the year, also a content creator, a guy I've known since about 3rd grade, and we became best friends over our common interest in barbecue ribs. What else do we have on this guy? He is a host, one of 4 hosts on Fantasy Rant, Stadium Rant's fantasy football podcast. The first of 2 guests today, 49ers fan, fantasy football enthusiast. Everybody, please welcome, if I can get him into the room. Oh, shit. Almost a good intro. If I can get him into the room, ladies and gentlemen, Mason Beck.
What's going on?
Yeah. Oh.
I think you said you did my intro wrong though. You didn't. You just said 49ers. You didn't say future Super Bowl champs 49ers. So I do have to say you're wrong about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad. My bad on that one. Well, Mason, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Just, getting towards the end of the fantasy season. We're in playoffs right now, so some good content coming out. Trying to find, we're dropping waiver wire videos every week. It's pretty hard to find any free agents out there in fantasy right now during playoffs because there's just nobody really out there. But we got a couple guys that we can help people out with if you come check out our stream.
Yeah, I've been dealing with some injury concerns trying to get to playoff contention, or at least stay competitive. I was projected to lose by about 30 points, but picked up Ty Chandler, and so far so good. But I missed out on the Zamir White pickup.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Chandler's kind of going off. Same with Jordan Addison, leaving JJ's not putting up those numbers that everyone's wanting, that held on to him all year. So
yeah, that's rough. That's really rough. So Mason, I know a little bit about Stadium Rant, but can you explain what exactly Stadium Rant is, and more specifically, what you do in Fantasy Rant?
So Stadium Rant is a company. It's everybody in the content creator. We do things from podcasts to videos to writing articles about sports. We mainly football is our focus, but we do touch other sports as well. And then it's all, the cool thing about Stadium Rant is that we're all a company that every single person is just a fan. It's all, true fans making content, which puts out true heartfelt content, different opinions, stuff that you can really hear from certain fans instead of just, some corporate sort of style article. And as far as what I do, I'm a part of Fantasy Rant. It's just a podcast show. We're on an Atlanta radio station. We also upload on YouTube. We pretty much just do an hour podcast, shoot the shit, talk about fantasy, talk about what big things happen the week, what's coming up the next week, and then, the waiver wire videos, like I had said. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the 4 fellow co-hosts there. That's pretty much what it is. We're a cool show. We'd love to have people around. So if anyone watching this wants to come check us out, it's much appreciated, and we'll enjoy seeing you there.
Hell yeah. I'll have to include the link to your guys' channel and everything in the description after this. But how did you find out or join Stadium Rant?
Funny thing was, met the CEO of it through playing Madden, and next thing you know, I'm helping him create sports content and working through, and that's just how cool of a company it is. Just a bunch of really cool guys. That simple as that. All it took was us playing Madden together for a couple months, and he was like, "Hey, you want to come work with me?" And now here I am.
That's pretty crazy. I remember being in the group chat, the Burnt Ends League, and firing off some articles, and the next thing you know, both of us were in Stadium Rant. If for everyone who didn't know, I used to be a part of Stadium Rant, but left to focus on my own channel, but still support the guys over there. They're pretty fucking cool. You can't say, like you said, it's like not a corporate kind of podcast where you can't say like fuck on or anything like on the corporate shows like Stephen A. Smith. You aren't going to be hearing him say anything like that. You aren't going to be hearing what's another one? Skip Bayless. You're not going to be hearing any of that from them. It's a lot more casual conversation, and that's what I like about you guys. I do enjoy watching you guys' show. But how have you used Stadium Rant? Are you trying to use Stadium Rant as, I shouldn't say use, but how has Stadium Rant helped you practice? Because I know you're working towards a career in sports media. How have you used Stadium Rant to help, I guess, hone in on your tools for that field?
I mean, just having people, a whole community behind you can support your same ideals. They also, most everyone there has the same goal. Either improve the company from the within, or if not, go somewhere else. And but Stadium Rant's great. I do want to improve there. That is my priority right now. But yeah, sports media, just being in a tight community like that, at least gets you off the ground. And it is a very cool community that just, even if it doesn't go anywhere, just great guys to talk to that, share interests, the same interests as yourself.
Yeah, it seems like it's definitely a fun environment to be a part of when it's just a bunch of diehard fans talking about sports like that. But also, speaking of being a fan, you are a Colorado Buffaloes fan, right?
Yeah, I go to Colorado. Yeah.
How has the experience been from seeing Dion come to the campus and kind of change the culture over there within sports? Obviously, football?
I mean, the sports culture's changed everywhere, not just in football. I mean, basketball, we're getting recruits too. Just there's a lot of excitement going through here. And obviously, it's not a good season for Colorado, but was better than the one win season last year. It's a lot to work on. Dion just actually brings purpose to the games instead of, us just going to a game and hoping and praying that maybe we don't lose by 20. There's actually some hope that we got it. Shador's a beast. That's all I got to say. Him and Travis Hunter are monsters. Yeah, I mean, the whole environment he's done great things for the city too. Made a ton of money for the city. Just you can see improvements already happening. He's been great for the community.
That's good. That's a lot more positive of an outlook than I have on good old Colorado. I not quite the fan, as you know, Oregon Ducks fan, and since that week seems like a lot of I guess the tide shifted from not hating Oregon to completely bashing on Oregon after Dan Lanning said that they're fighting for clicks, not fighting for wins. The game's not made in Hollywood. Have you seen a lot of bandwagoning? I know that, I mean, I definitely have. I'm pretty sure you have too, but how much bandwagoning have you seen from Colorado football? Because I feel like I haven't seen before Dion got there. I never saw a Colorado football fan in my life.
Yeah, no, speak on the bandwagon part. It's so funny. Like our first 3 weeks when, we started off 3-0, we had so much media coverage and you have all these celebrities coming out like they're major Colorado fans. It's like, dude, you would never have visited here last year. That's just an aspect to it. I mean, you just see people constantly around the town wearing Colorado gear. Like last year, if it wasn't a football day, nobody was really wearing Colorado stuff, even though I live in Boulder. Yeah, it's just definitely a lot more bandwagon fans that are now actually showing that they care when instead of last year when the team was at its low, actually caring. It's just the bandwagon mentality, following the hype. That happens a lot.
It does happen a lot, but it's not very often that you see a one-win team garner all this hype and only to be what did they finish as? Was it 4 wins?
4.
So a 4-win team with as much hype around them. I know it's different because he's rebuilding the program, which obviously he is, and I think that they are going to have better seasons ahead of them. But it's just so crazy to see a 4-win program with this outspoken of a fan base and I guess diehardedness within just a year. I took a visit to Salem, Massachusetts, with my family earlier in the year, and we're walking around trying to find a place to eat. We were going to what was it? It was a Halloween. It was that Hocus Pocus place, and I see somebody in a Colorado football hoodie. I'm like, there's no shot that somebody in Salem, Massachusetts is, or I guess they can be a Colorado fan, but are they a long tenured Colorado fan? I don't think so, but this is the biggest case of bandwagon that I've ever seen in my entire life. My short 21 years on this earth, I've never seen a bandwagon like this for Colorado.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's just you can see Colorado everywhere, and it's like, yeah, you probably could see some here and there from alumni, but like, I mean, I feel like you could just walk down the street of any big town and you're guaranteed to see someone wearing some Colorado gear. And I don't understand it. I mean, yeah, it's cool Dion here, but I don't get why people are really rooting for Colorado if you're not from the state of Colorado. It's just like, why is someone in Salem? Why are they a Colorado fan? It makes no sense. It's cool for the school and all, but I just don't get all the bandwagon hype. Like it's not like we're Alabama, we're not a top dog SEC team, or Georgia. We're none of those guys. So I just don't get where all this like fan base really grew from.
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like it's kind of like I guess the thing that it reminds me of is the bandwagon, all the bandwagon fans that came out after the Golden State Warriors just became like a dynasty in about 2015, I think, 2014, 2015. and just the amount of Warriors fans that spawned out of thin air was just ridiculous. And I think I'm seeing the same thing with the Colorado fans. But obviously not the ideal year, obviously an improvement, but what do you think that they're going to do? I guess how do you think they're going to build on it next season? Do you think that they're going to improve with they're moving to the Big 12, right? Is that going into
Yeah.
place next year? Oh yeah, Pac-12 is just fucking toast.
Yeah, there's only like
Forgot
4
about that.
teams left in the pack.
I just saw actually the Oregon State and Washington State have full control because they won the lawsuit against the 10 other teams.
Oh.
Yeah, so we got the Pac-2,
Yeah.
but Colorado is in the Big 12. How do you think that they'll, I guess, adjust to the move to the Big 12? And do you think you'll see any improvement, or I should say significant improvement?
I mean, I think the only thing one big thing that's holding them back is the O-line. I mean, if you watch any Colorado games, Shedeur is running for his life almost every other play. He threw up solid numbers for his sack totals. He sat out the last week. There was a little injury concern, but also like there was a lot of projections that if Shedeur played that game, he would have been the most sacked quarterback ever in college football history in one season. But they already brought in, and I forget if it's either a 4 or a 5-star recruit offensive lineman for next year.
Yeah.
So Deion's already touching that. If they bring in another big one and, even some more 3-stars, some other guys that can at least do better than what we did this year, I think I'm not saying playoffs or anything, but I'm thinking, the very well-respected team that, it's not an easy win when you go to play against Colorado.
Well, as much as you may hope for that to happen, I am not hoping for it. I think that the damage done last year from a lot of angry Colorado fans is still a bit sour in my mind. I guess obviously Oregon fan, Pac-12 rivalry. I've never seen somebody bring up the age of a quarterback so quickly and so out of nowhere, with Colorado fans saying, "Oh, Bo Nix is 28. He's 25. He's 30 years old. He's been in college for 10 years." Meanwhile, Michael Penix has been a 6-year senior, same age as Bo Nix, but we'll move on from that. I don't want to spend the whole time me hating on Colorado. We'll see how they do next year, but let's move on to your team, the 49ers. We could talk about playoffs with both our teams, but my team, I don't think they're going to make it. So let's just focus on the 49ers. How do you feel about the Brock Purdy MVP conversations?
I'm thinking it's pretty legit. He's throwing up the statistics for it. And if you look at, like, a lot of people are arguing, oh, well, he gets a lot of yards after yards after catch, and that's, it's not him, it's the team around him. But if you really look at it, there's a lot of, if you look at the past, like, 6 MVPs, Brock Purdy's percentage of his yards is 52% of his passing yards are yards after catch. If you look at the past like 5-6 MVPs, they're all within 1 or 2% below or under. Aaron Rodgers was like 54% yards after catch on that one year that he threw like 2 interceptions and it was MVP. So if you really say, oh, Purdy's invalid because he's getting all these yards after catch, then so is Mahomes MVP. So is Aaron Rodgers. So is everybody else. And I don't get that. This is the first, like, Jimmy Garoppolo had a great team almost around him. CMC wasn't there, I will say that, but he's had a great team around him. Has Jimmy Garoppolo ever been in an MVP conversation? No, he hasn't. Brock Purdy is actually, he has the talent, he has the ability to throw deep when he needs to. He's smart with the ball. He doesn't turn the ball over much, which is very important. And I mean, yeah, I so to say it, I think it's between him and Dak, to be honest, that I do not like Dak.
Understandable. I know that there's the rivalry that runs kind of deep with the Cowboys and the 49ers. Personally, I think right now Dak should be leading it, but I don't discount Brock Purdy at all. I've in the past used the argument of run after catch being a negative toward quarterbacks. I don't know if I should necessarily, I guess it's kind of an eye thing, because you can still throw, like a 35-yard dot and the rest, it's a 40-yard after catch, and then That's still a shit ton of yards after the catch. That's like 70-yard touchdown. But maybe if it's like, in terms of screenplays, like that was a knock on, for example, that was a knock on Justin Herbert. They said Oregon's offense, it was always screen passes, and that's where all his yards came from. So I guess it's kind of an eye test thing. Before, like I said, used the run after catch as a bad thing in my first ever video about calling Joe Burrow overrated. And we all see how that has turned out and how that's aged terribly. So I guess those are some counter arguments to the run after the catch conversations. How are you feeling about, moving into playoffs? So the 49ers are clinched, right?
Yeah, we're clinched. Right now we're the 1 seed, but we pretty much, if we lose a game and Dallas wins out or if Philly wins out, then we won't have the 1 seed. But we are for sure in the playoffs.
Okay. All right. How do you feel about their chances this year? I know that they're commonly in the conversation for a Super Bowl contender. Is this year any different from the years in the past?
It just feels different. And I mean, people could say they say that every year. I mean, the last couple of years I've been like, okay, this is our year. And, it hasn't showed up. And I've been like, all right, whatever. This year, it will be the year that if we do not at least make Super Bowl, I will not be happy. The talent is there. Injuries just scare me. I mean, who's our main competition in the NFC? It's Philly, Dallas. We've blown them both out. That gives me confidence. But we had the 3-game losing streak. And, that's all it takes in the NFL is you get cold and your season's over. It's playoffs. You never know what happens. All it takes is Purdy to have an off day. A couple guys fumble the ball, defense have an off day, or, injuries. Niners are starting to rack up some injuries on the defensive end. So I'm confident, but man, I think it's just the injuries. We don't get injured as much. I think our chances are really high. And then Patrick Mahomes will beat us in the Super Bowl again because we can't beat Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I mean, the last time in the playoffs or the Super Bowl, you had the chance, and that was when Jimmy G was the quarterback. And it's been permanently stained in your brain, yes, overthrowing Emmanuel Sanders. Staying on the topic of their quarterback, last year, obviously the plethora of injuries at the quarterback position, but mainly in the NFC Championship, Brock Purdy goes down. Do you think it plays out differently if he's in the whole game?
That game, I mean, I'm not saying necessarily we would have beat the Eagles. I just think that game could have been one of the most entertaining playoff games we would have ever watched. I mean, Niners scored on the first drive after the Eagles did, and then the Eagles came back and scored. It was 14-7, I believe. And, we're like, all right, Brock Purdy's going to come in. It's going to be 14-14. At the end of the first, it's going to be a good game. He went down. We could have won, but I don't think we could have beat that Chiefs team last year. In the Super Bowl anyways. But I just think it at least would have been a good game. Not necessarily we would have made Super Bowl.
Okay.
Because the Eagles are a lot better last year than they are this year on the defensive end.
Yeah, for sure. Their secondary is definitely not what it was last year. I don't know if that's because of a loss of – I mean, they traded for Kevin Byard, which I don't know how much that has done. And I know they had CD Deuce last year, so it's a bit of a swap, but – definitely the secondary is not what it was last year. The defense is not what it was last year. I'd say that the offense is about the same, maybe not in terms of there's been more temper tantrums by A.J. Brown this year than there was last year. But other than that, I think it's just mainly defense for their part. Circling back to that Madden League you were talking about, are you still in the Madden League?
Yeah, and we just did our rookie draft.
Oh yeah, how'd you finish in your season?
Like 7-10 or something like that.
Sounds like a very New Orleans-esque record.
Well, Sam Darnold is my quarterback, so.
Oh, yeah, 49ers legend Sam Darnold.
Hey man, if Brock Purdy goes out, I got all faith in Sam Darnold to carry us.
Well, Sam Darnold, that's an interesting. Now that you bring it up, that reminds me. Have you ever had a trade where somebody invested a lot of hype into Sam Darnold at all? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, man. Pretty sure it was with a guy named Carson, where I traded Sam Darnold for like a first and like Ramondre Stevenson and I think someone else. So Sam Darnold with the Panthers when he was doing really good for like 3-4 weeks, and then he did what we know he does. And Carson bought into it. So
I
good
mean,
times.
surely Carson wasn't the only person who could have bought into the Sam Darnold hype at that time. But in hindsight, Carson looks like a fucking idiot. He should have never done that. Is that the worst trade that you have ever? I guess is that the worst trade you've ever seen? Maybe not so much partaken in, but is that the worst trade that you've ever seen?
Oh, it definitely is. Because actually, I'm thinking about it now. I'm pretty sure I got Amon St. Ra from that trade too. I'm pretty sure it
I
was
want.
Amon and Ramondre in that trade.
Well, here, let's add some context. We made 2 trades where I had given up an unnecessary amount for what I got in return. So I want to say that the Amon-Ra St. Brown and Ramondre Stevenson one was a 2-for-1. I gave those 2 to you for DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
I think that's what that one was. But I
I
know the
don't
Sam Darnold one definitely included some first-round picks. And I want to say Miles Sanders was somewhere within the 2 deals.
I think he was too. I must see if I could pull this up real quick. No, never mind. That league's dead. So can't
Oh,
pull it
yeah.
up.
That league is dead. Probably for the better, so it can prevent me from doing stupid shit like that.
Actually, no, dude, that's not the worst trade I ever saw. The worst trade I ever saw was someone trading Kelsey and Cup for like Kadarius Toney and like a 3rd-round pick. You remember when someone was intentionally trying to ruin our league? So,
Yeah. I was wondering if you were gonna bring that one up. Luckily, that's not one that I was involved in. I may have been commissioner and not wanted it to go through, but I would say that's one of the worst trades I've ever seen.
yeah, but he was throwing.
Yeah, he was. Some asshole wouldn't let him have Isaiah Pacheco on his taxi squad. I don't know who would do that.
Oops.
What was I gonna say? So are you as a fantasy player, I guess there's kind of molds that people follow. Are you like a trade happy guy? Are you a waiver wire happy guy? Or are you just like thug it out right with your team kind of from the draft to the end?
Depends what I'm doing. If I'm doing redraft, I'm kind of just like stick it out, stick waiver wire, because in redraft, a lot of times people are just going to try robbing you in trades. I've kind of picked that up. Like someone sends you a trade, it's very rarely in your favor in redraft. Dynasty, though, most of the time when I do like dynasty leagues, I go for a pretty young team, one that's probably not going to make a playoffs year. And then in dynasty, when I'm like that, I'm very trade happy. Because I'm just trying to build up my guys, get me something, build my dynasty that after a year or two of struggling, I'm going to be a contender for 8 years. That's always like kind of how I go.
Maybe one day we can get in a league where it lasts longer than just the rebuild phase, and we can actually see a dynasty grow, whether it's yours or mine.
Hey, dude, I had the most loaded team ever. I had Hurts as my QB. I had Ramondre, Tony Pollard, Kenneth Walker as my RBs, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Olave, and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Goddard as my tight end. I will never forget that team. That team was it was loaded.
And it was all just wiped away. One foul swoop. Gone. Yep. So I do have to ask you this. I've got a fantasy playoffs matchup going on. I'm going to read you the matchups between the 2 teams. Of course, I'll include the context of the games that have passed already. But first, my team, Amon-Ra dogging your mom. It's a 2 quarterback league, not a super flex though. I got Gardner Minshew and Jordan Love. Those are my 2 quarterbacks. Travis Etienne, Jalen Warren, Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Evan Ingram, then Ty Chandler, who scored me 37, Dustin Hopkins, and the Ravens defense. I'll also include my running backs who are hurt: Madison, Ramondre Stevenson, and Isaiah Pacheco. So that's why my running backs seem so shitty. But I'm going up against, if you can remember all this, I know it's a lot of names. Justin Fields, Jake Browning, who got him 27, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, who got him 24, Trey McBride, Ezekiel Elliott in the flex, Tyler Bass, and the Broncos defense, with Jonathan Taylor out on his bench and Anthony Richardson also on his bench on the IR. Whoa. How do you think my chances are?
You better hope you better hope Warren runs like 80-yard touchdown today. I mean, like, he's got way too many guys that are just big boom guys, that have a very, very low or very high floor. So, they're going to get at least consistent points. You got to be hoping that some of these guys just have great weeks for you. That team you're playing against sounds pretty solid. Especially with Jake Browning putting up good numbers, and Devontae Adams had a great week too. So,
yeah. Well, I'm not super confident. I will say that this very team that I'm playing, there's a few teams in this league that got away with some ridiculous trades, to say the least. Because obviously, as you heard, he's got a lot of star power on his team. Having Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor all on the same team is absurd. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm more of the ride it out with my squad for most of the year in terms of redraft. So that's what I'm rolling with. But I also had Kirk Cousins, traded Diggs for Josh Dobbs and Isaiah Pacheco, who Dobbs then got benched and Pacheco got hurt. So it seems like trading doesn't really work for me either.
Yeah,
but we have that. That is, if you can rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, how good are my chances in this week?
About a 4 out of 10 chance, I'd say. Christian McCaffrey's going to put up 20 points guaranteed. Saquon can put up 30 points.
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, especially CMC playing against Arizona. That's that's going to be some points.
Yeah, it is. But so there's that. I also wanted to ask, can we expect you in the next year's Sportsmanlike Misconduct Creators League?
Yes, I can. I was not very active this one because I am in way too many leagues.
Yeah, I'd say I'm in a. I know you're in a shit ton of leagues. How many best ball leagues are you in?
About 50, 60 best ball leagues.
That's got to be some sort of record. It's got to be. I've got 2 best ball leagues, and 2 of them I didn't even pay attention to.
Yeah, no, that's just how best ball is.
Yeah, it's been a rough year fantasy wise for me. But yeah, I'm not too big on the best ball. I know. Is that something that you guys are going to be covering? I try to tune in when I can onto Stadium Rant, but that's something you guys cover on Fantasy Rant.
Best ball we haven't got as much into. This was our first season. Our main priority in the off season was talking a lot of Dynasty, and then I don't know what that was. Talking a lot of Dynasty, and then mainly during the season talking a lot of redraft. Obviously, we've put a little Dynasty aspects, and especially towards the end of the season, there's some people who aren't in playoffs are looking to the future. So that's mostly what we're talking about now.
Okay, and so is Fantasy Rant going to stick primarily, or I guess strictly, with football, or is an expansion into other sports somewhere along the horizon?
Fantasy, it could be something that we do spread into. in the future. We are mainly a football one right now. I don't know enough about fantasy baseball or basketball to really, give valid arguments, but there's something that I am starting to get more into and learn about. So that could be something that we do see rising in the future.
Yeah, well, I'm getting my ass kicked in fantasy basketball, if that helps at all. It's not very easy.
No, it's not.
I am 0-7.
Yeah, you gotta really pay attention to everyday lineups and that kind of stuff, and it's just no, it's fantasy basketball is a lot harder one. Same with baseball. It's definitely a lot more of a commitment. That's why fantasy football is obviously like the big one.
Yeah, doing daily checks, and I'm in a league where I lock it in, where you lock it in by game, and so that's definitely even more of a task to keep track of that. So if you guys do end up going down the route of expansion, I will definitely be tuning in for some fantasy basketball advice because I surely need it.
Yeah, no, it's I could use some of that too because I'm still learning right now as well for basketball. But yeah, no, if you want some fantasy football content, we're definitely the place right now.
Yeah. So I know there's got to be some level of competitiveness between the four hosts. Who's the best fantasy football player in Fantasy Rant? You don't have to give the humble answer either. You can give
I hope
one
nobody's
that's on your mind.
So if I'm going to be honest, I think I have the best outlook at looking at the future. But I honestly got to say, my man Dan probably is the best. He knows every single statistic there is to know about any player. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that guy is a numbers guy for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if we look at the old Creators League, we got Manny at number 1. And we got, I guess this is kind of an asterisk because you weren't too invested in it. I'll be honest, I wasn't either. I just kind of lucked out.
Yeah.
Then we got Ramondre the Giant, also known as Dan Baker, at number 2, 9-5. And sneaking into playoffs is Tank 1 and Tank 2, Evan Gooding.
Yeah.
Lee isn't in this league because he wasn't in Fantasy Rant at the time of the invitation, but you might have to step up the game, bro.
Hey man, I stopped paying attention at some point. Like I got Ayuk on my bench and CMC, so I messed up by not setting my lineup consistently in that league. So I think I would have, not having CMC and starting inconsistent Tony Pollard all year instead is it's a big difference.
Yeah. How are you doing? How many playoff teams do you have right now? I guess maybe not across the best ball leagues because we don't need to go through all 57, 56
I don't
of them.
look at best ball leagues until season's over and I say, oh, hey, I won or hey, I lost. But because they're best ball ones where you lock in, you can't make moves at all during the season. It's just you draft and forget those types of stuff. But now in my 8 or 9 leagues I'm in playoffs in 6. A couple of them it's not looking too good due to injuries. And one of my running backs are Miles Sanders and Jordan Mason. And
yikes!
Yeah, no, that one's not very good. And then my starting receivers this week are Cedric Tillman, Jerry Jeudy, and Romeo Dobbs. So I'm getting knocked out in that league. That's just something I've accepted. But yeah, no, besides that, at least making a good push in a contention play.
That's good. How should I word this? What is the best team you have ever had? Is this one of the years where you've had one of the best fantasy teams you've ever had, or is it in other leagues?
Well, the best team I ever had was the one that's no longer there. But I got a pretty good team in one of my leagues right now. It's very running back friendly. Like they get points per first down, points per carry. And then it's also very QB friendly. But so yeah, like that team's pretty good. I got Allen, Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Zeke, and then James Cook on my bench. And like running backs average like 23 to 25 points when I got, like, for example, DeAndre Swift in this league is projected to get around 19 points. Keenan Allen is usually projected to get around 19 points. So
Okay.
like that's kind of the thing. Like my two wide receivers are Keenan Allen, Zay Flowers. I got the 1 seed this year, so if Keenan Allen's out next week, I'm gonna have to start Rondell Moore. Then I still think I can dominate any single team because it's very running back heavy.
Yeah, when you got all those running backs, I'd say that you feel pretty safe. Even just seeing nice names on the bench is pretty reassuring when you're playing fantasy football. Me, I just see a lot of out symbols on my bench, so I'm not too safe, I guess. But I guess we'll start closing this out. Since this is a holiday themed stream, I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions. How do you feel about Sleepers pictures, these player pictures that they do for all the holiday themes, I guess?
I mean, I think it's interesting. I know CMC, I'm pretty sure, is dressed like an elf right now. Jordan Love is like, he's got like some heart around him or something.
Yeah,
I
it's like candy
forget.
canes with a heart around his face.
I think it's okay. I mean, you know where it all started, right?
Yeah, I do know. It's
Yeah,
a
we
bit of a
don't.
subject that I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, let's not mention her name, but
Or
you
we
know,
could mention her name.
nah, dude,
Say,
I don't want to just angry talk for like 5 minutes. I'm good.
it's true. But yeah, I guess it was a good concept with a bittersweet start.
Yeah,
We'll say that much.
yeah. No, I
But
mean, maybe they do cool stuff with it in the future. That.
yeah, would you say that's the best fantasy football app? Is Sleeper?
For Dynasty, I say so. 100% sleeper. Honestly, in redraft, I'm a big fan of Yahoo.
Yeah, I remember Yahoo was our big was what we started off with. Then that kicked off the fantasy football addiction, the crippling addiction
Yep.
that we suffer from today. But yeah, I'd say the Sleeper is probably the best app. Have you ever tried CBS?
I don't think so. I've only used ESPN as well. And then I used this weird one that like I can't even think of the name of it, but it was for it's a special type of league. I can't think of the name of it where like you'd have to draft a coach and your coach had like superpowers or something like that.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's kind of a cool league. I forget what it was called, but yeah, I'd have to think of that.
And Brendan, you did not miss the giveaway. The giveaway is still not for a little bit. It's coming up soon, but we haven't done it yet. But yeah, back to the holiday themed questions. It is Christmas time. Let's go with on the spot top 5 Christmas movies right now.
Elf. Obviously, Elf. Polar Express. This Polar Express is a banger. National Lampoons.
Okay, these
Why am
solid
I
so far.
why am I drawing blanks on Christmas movies? I can't even think. I forget which one it is. It's one of the Jack Frost movies I like. I forget if it's the first or second one. And then I'm blanking so hard on Christmas movies. I know if I looked up a list, I'd just be like, oh, but oh yeah, Die Hard. Let's go with Die Hard.
That
Thanks,
was going to
Brandon.
be my next question. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Well, I don't actually know if it is, but you know, everyone says it is at this point. So Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Because that's the thing. I've never seen Die Hard, and
So
I've gotten a lot of maybe some stink eyes and some people that are quite surprised that I've never seen a classic like that, which is kind of a theme at work. I get made fun of a lot for not watching for not watching movies. But that's about it for the questions. I want to say good luck with Fantasy Rant. Good luck in your playoff seasons. Thank you for coming on. That was a good talk. It actually went a lot longer than I anticipated. I had to come up with a lot of questions on the spot, but that was a good talk. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll include all of your description stuff once I start editing the stream. But ladies and gentlemen, Mason Beck.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. And obviously, it went a little longer. We've known each other for like 12 years now, or wherever it's been. We're just gonna ramble whenever we get the chance to talk. So
that's a long time. But hey, I don't have a time limit, so it's all good. It's Saturday. There are some games on, but not games that I'm really interested in watching. Who are your picks for the games?
Steelers, Lions, obviously. I mean, Russ might cook up something, but Lions should win that game.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. And oh shit, I did it again. And I'll see you later, Mason.
All right. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, we got that. Woo! Not the greatest interviewer, but I think I did enough to suffice. But I do have a channel announcement now. I am launching a Discord for my YouTube channel to help further the community we've been building for the past 2 years. I'll be launching a Discord for the channel. In this Discord, you can get direct access to new videos as well as help the creation process with voting on topics or thumbnail designs. The Discord is going to help me get you guys more involved with the channel and give you some additional perks within the Discord that you can't typically access as a normal viewer. Whether it's behind the scene looks or direct contact with me about the channel or events like watch parties. So join the community. It launches on January 1st, 2024. The server will be linked in my channel bio as well as be included in every single video description. I'll see you guys in there. Pops, thank you for complimenting the Christmas tree. Isaiah, OMG, it's Grayson McIndilly. It is Grayson McIndilly himself. Now we're going to be moving on to week 15 picks. I'll be honest, I usually take notes for this kind of thing before I do all my prediction videos. I like to take notes, but trying to set all of this up was a pain in the ass, and I honestly forgot. So we're going to be spitting off tops right now. What? We're going to be spitting off tops, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, we will acknowledge the past games. Starting off with Thursday's game, the absolute shellacking of the Chargers. That was 63-21 Raiders win. Check out the stats. Aiden O'Connell, 248 and 4 touchdowns, 20 for 34. Zamir White, 17 attempts, 69 yards and a touchdown. Nice. And Devontae Adams, 8 receptions, 101 yards and a touchdown. And how many defensive touchdowns there was? 1, 2 defensive touchdowns in a row. I think this is the highest. Eat the mic, please. Oh. All right, Keenan, I ate the mic for you. Okay, fuck my mic up. Yeah, Chargers, terrible. Finally, I guess it expedited the firing of Brandon Staley and their GM. You ever do any side handyman work? No, I'm more of a I'm more of a digital work guy. Your guys' comments are too much. But yeah, I won't stay too long onto the Chargers Raiders game. I think that game probably should move the Raiders more in the direction of hiring Antonio Pierce as their head coach, and that's something that they should really figure it out because they've gone through 2 not good quarterbacks. Or not quarterbacks. I'm thrown off. Somebody's commenting Diggs. I swear to God, if I see you guys complete that, I'm going to be real upset. All right. Good. Tank 7X. Fuck you. Then we had the game that just ended, which was the Bengals and the Vikings. The Bengals, Jake Browning has usually been, you should work hard before you die hard. Jake Browning, he has been cooking in the past, and he similarly did today. 324, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Nick Mullins coming in for the benched Joshua Dobbs. Nick Mullins had 303 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Not an insane game, but Ty Chandler was somebody who had an insane game coming in for Alexander Madison. Probably the best Vikings performance. I hate you guys so much. Probably the best performance by a Vikings running back this season is Ty Chandler going for 132 yards on 23 attempts with a touchdown. And on the receiving end, he had 3 catches for 25 yards. Helping out my fantasy team with that performance. I will say I did take the Raiders in the past game. I know I kind of had it out late by the time they were already up like 21-0. But I had them. I'm not going to pick a Justin Herbert-less offense in the Chargers. And then I picked the Bengals. Oh, see, now it just looks like I'm cheating. But I would have picked the Bengals because they had the Vikings having their quarterback controversies and struggles. It was a lot closer than I thought. And honestly, I wished that the Vikings won. So it means Jake Browning would have played a little worse. So I could have, had a better chance in fantasy. But then we'll move on. Right now, the Steelers and Colts are playing. Steelers are up 12-0. I personally would have picked the Colts because after last week's performance of the Steelers losing to the Patriots in an embarrassing showing, letting Bailey Zappi just absolutely tear them up, there was no reason that I felt like I should be picking the Colts or the Steelers. So I picked the Colts, but they're down 13, so it's not looking great for me. Mitch Trubisky just threw a touchdown, and the other points were Mitch Trubisky rushing. So apparently, Mr. Mitch Trubisky is bouncing back from last week. I don't know football, obviously, so I should go stick to soccer, I guess. But we'll move on to the Lions and the Broncos. The Broncos and Lions have been on a bit of a different path from each other lately. The Lions off and on games. They had a close one with the Bears a few weeks ago, then lost to the Packers on Thanksgiving. Then they beat the Saints, which they escaped, which they should have been a lot more. Should have been a lot bigger of a deficit for the Saints. And then they lose to the Bears. So they've been a bit spotty, and their defense has been not what it was to begin the season. Some would say that the Lions are frauds, but the Broncos have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of their last 7, only losing a close game to the Texans, beating some impressive teams like the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Browns, and handily beating the Chargers, which isn't much anymore worth much. But for this one, I think I'm more confident in the Broncos. Normally, I would be taking the Lions, but I think that Jared Goff has been later years of LA Jared Goffing, not super impressive, and their defense has been giving up a lot, and maybe Russ is going to cook. They've been on a huge wave of momentum, so I'm just going to pick the Broncos for this one. Then we'll move to the next one, which is... We'll go to the Saints one next. We'll just get them out of the way. I don't like this game at all. If I wasn't a Saints fan, I would have no interest in watching this game. I'd actually be more interested in watching Tommy DeVito chicken cutlets play instead of watching the Saints' abysmal offense. But if the Giants keep playing like the way that they did against the Packers, which was a stiff defense and an offense that was moving pretty easily up and down the field, especially on the last drive that put them ahead, and the Saints really have nothing going for them, for me to want to pick them at all. Their defense has become not the defense that we've seen in years past. Their offense, like I said, slow, inconsistent. Derek Carr is not what he was supposed to be. He is fighting through his like fourth concussion of the year. He's got 3 broken ribs. It's like he got ran over by a car and thrown back out onto the field, and he'd still make it back in practice. But they are 5.5-point favorites. And I hate to do it, but I'm going to take the Giants. And I'm also going to take the Giants in the upset of the week. This is like very, I'm ashamed to do this as a Saints fan, but I got to do it. Tommy Cutlets for the win, upset of the week, Giants over the Saints. As I sip out of my coffee mug with the Saints on it. It's okay if the Saints fan base feels betrayed. Bears and Browns. The Bears are 1 win away from a 5-win season, a competitive 5-win season. Like I said, I had them at 5-12, and really, I don't want them to pass that. With that said, that's not the reason I'm picking the Browns, because I am picking the Browns. There's this youngster on the Browns. Not sure if you've heard of him. He's he should be fairly new to the league. I think he's a rookie. Just signed off the practice squad. Goes by Joe Elite. Joe Flacco, the young guy out of Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns legend, potential future of the franchise, is going to lead the Browns once again to the promised land over the Bears, whose defense has improved. I'll give the Bears a little bit of credit. 2-game win streak. Justin Fields back. Defense a little bit better. Not completely terrible and embarrassment of a team. But the Browns, despite fighting through all these injuries, are still 8-5. Still a great defense. And with Joe Flacco, the future of the league, a guy who the Jets wish they had still, is going to lead the Browns over the Bears. Then we have the Buccaneers and the Packers. The Packers had a bit of a letdown of a game against the Giants last week. Definitely a letdown for me in terms of fantasy. And as a Bakersfield fan of Jordan Love, this is a bit of a tough matchup. The Buccaneers are just this team that I don't really know how to judge them. Their run game has been bad, and their offense through the air has been okay. Their defense hasn't been really eye-popping. They're kind of this team that's in a purgatory of I don't know how to rank them. And then it's kind of the same with the Packers now that they've kind of come back down to earth. So it's kind of a coin flip. They've won 3 out of their last 4, and their most recent one was at the Giants. But in their home games, they've won their last 3 home games. So I'll go with the Packers. You don't want to play in Lambeau in December, and you really just don't want to play the Packers in December at all. So give me the Packers. Next, we have the Texans and the Titans. This would be a completely different game had CJ Stroud been in, but now it's Case Keenum, I believe, is starting. It's Case Keenum or it's Davis Mills. Either way, they are not CJ Stroud. They are not the answer to lead this team. And the Titans are coming off of a big win against the Dolphins, where they came back all the way from down 13 with the last 2 minutes left, I believe, 2 or 3 minutes, where teams were 0-767, I believe, in terms of trying to come back from that deficit in that time frame. So I guess Will Levis must have put a little extra mayo in his coffee that day, but they're coming off a big win. Their offense seems to be clicking a little bit more recently, at least in the past 2 weeks, and going against the Houston defense that not great, not terrible. It seems like they lacked defensive adjustments coming out of the second half, or to start off the second half, I should say. So, with the lack of CJ Stroud and their very spotty run game going against a Titans defense that has a respectable run game, despite giving up quite a few touchdowns to the Miami backfield last game, I'm going to take the Titans in this one. And the Colts just scored. Who scored? Gardner Minshew threw a touchdown. That's good for fantasy, baby. 16-yard touchdown. Zach Moss. It is 13-6. Let's bring it on back, Colts. Let's go 3-0. Now we have the Jets and the Dolphins. Jets and the Dolphins. Zach Wilson having a 300-yard game last week against the Texans, I believe it was. And the Dolphins, as we just mentioned, blowing a big lead to the Titans. It's been a story all year. They've been bad against winning teams, but they just lost against a winning team. And that team all around is not as good as the Jets, I don't think. The Jets are one quarterback away. They're one Aaron Rodgers away from being a competent offense. And unfortunately, they don't have that. They have Zach Wilson. But I'd say that the key matchup in this game is Jalen Ramsey and Garrett Wilson, which is also shitty because I have Garrett Wilson in fantasy. So I need the Jets to win this matchup in particular. But Dolphins at home this season are almost undefeated. They just lost their last home game. I don't think that they're going to drop back-to-back games, though. So versus a Jets offense that picked it up last week, but have been very, very inconsistent and not impressive at all in the last, whole season. Against Atlanta, 8 points. Against the Dolphins the first time, 13. Against the Bills, 6. Against the Raiders, 12. Against the Chargers, 6. So, and against the Giants, 13. And held to 10 in 2 other games this year. Their offense does not have the firepower to keep up with the Dolphins. So, give me Miami. Then we have the Chiefs and the Patriots. And a few years back, this would have been a really good matchup that everybody would have wanted to watch, and it would have been flexed to Sunday Night Football probably. But we have the 3-10 Patriots led by Bailey Zappi going against the Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs. Not the same juggernaut matchup that you would typically be seeing, but Kansas City going into Gillette, 8.5-point favorites. Obviously, you know I'm going to pick the Chiefs in this one, but I do want to acknowledge that last game, Patrick Mahomes was out of line for throwing that big old hissy fit over a completely justified call. And even Josh Allen trying to shake his hand, he's like, horrible fucking call, dude. Like, it's not a horrible call. It was the correct call because Kadarius Toney's been causing them to lose games all season long. I don't think it's going to be significant in this game, but I could see him messing up again. I don't think that he's going to be getting the ball or I guess playing time as much going forward. I just don't really have much to add onto this game except for airing my grievances with the fucking baby shit by the Chiefs last game. But yeah, give me the Chiefs. Then we have the Falcons and the Panthers. Panthers are 1-12. They lost to the Saints. That's how you know you're bad. The Falcons 6-7, currently tied in a 3-way tie for the lead of the NFC South. Another team that's been inconsistent, whether that be coaching or personnel. I'm going to put most of that on Arthur Smith. Losing a close one to Tampa Bay last week, but they go into Carolina. As much as I'd want Carolina to win, I don't think that they will because the Falcons defense has been decent this year. And any sort of defensive, I guess, capability by any team is enough to slow down the Panthers. Not that they'd really catch any speed anyway. So give me the Falcons. And will I lock them up? No, I won't lock them up. Will I lock them up? I didn't do a lock yet, and I did do an upset. I took the Giants. So let's go with, we'll come back around to the lock of the week. Then we have the Commanders and the Rams next. The Rams offense is back on their feet with Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp, all kind of, I guess, what's the word? I guess they're just on fire right now, and they are going against a Washington defense that can't cover a goddamn soul. So I'll take the Rams in this one. Not much explanation behind it besides the fact that the matchup between the offense, or I guess the receivers on the outside, compared to the Washington Commanders defense, not good against good. Give me the Rams. And I will lock the Rams up. So that is my lock of the week. Rams over Commanders. Then we have the 49ers and the Cardinals. Kind of another one. 49ers are 12.5-point favorites despite being the visiting team. There's nothing that I really have in favor of the Cardinals except for maybe James Conner did good recently. I don't even know if that's true or not. I know he had a good game not too long ago. I don't know if it was even last week. Last week, James Conner had, 25 carries for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns against, what do you know, the Steelers. So I'm going to say, despite their impressive showing last week and a game that they probably should have lost, they are going against the 49ers, who are on a current 5-game win streak. Offense is clicking on all cylinders. Brock Purdy, potential MVP this year. They're going against Christian McCaffrey. If you shut down Christian McCaffrey, which you won't, they've got Debo. They've got Brandon Ayuk. They've got George Kittle. Their weapons have weapons. So I'm going to take the 49ers. Typically, I would lock them, but I try to go with a little bit more of an interesting one. So that's why I'm locking up the Rams. But 49ers, give me them. Then we have an interesting matchup between the Cowboys and the Bills. This is kind of a one that it's kind of hard for me to judge. You don't want to play in Buffalo late in the year, just like you don't want to play in Lambeau. But the Bills are a better team than the Packers, and I don't really necessarily know the weather conditions. Oh, also forgot to mention why the Cardinals will lose. Kyler is too short to play in a man's league. This is a big boy league. It's not meant for little boys like Kyler. Okay, back to the Cowboys Bills game. The other potential MVP candidate is Dak Prescott going against the league leader in touchdowns, total touchdowns, which is Josh Allen. The Cowboys are on a 5-game win streak with impressive wins over the Eagles, and they decimated the Giants and the Panthers and the Commanders. So they look like a pretty dominant team right now. And the Bills, on the other end, have not necessarily looked super dominant. They've been very off and on the season. They lost to Philly the other week on a late game drive, but they did beat Kansas City. But they were one offsides away from losing. So with this, I'm just going to go with who's been more impressive throughout the year. You can go and look at stats and everything, but I guess the Cowboys have done everything they've needed to do this season when it comes to their matchups. They lost the first go around to the Eagles, and that's a series that you typically expect them to split. They lost to the 49ers via beatdown, and then they lost to the Cardinals in week 3. So in the later half of the season, they've been on a tear. And the Bills, I'm still not necessarily sold on them. their offense may have been a bit safer recently, but I'm still going to go with the Cowboys in this one, who they are also an underdog, but I'm not going to put them as the upset of the week. I'm more confident in the Giants beating the Saints than I am the Cowboys beating the Bills. Moving to Sunday Night Football, the Ravens and the Jags. So this time last year, or around this time last year, 3 weeks earlier, same game, a Jaguars comeback sparked the late season surge by the Jacksonville team to make playoffs. And then, they go on, come back 27-0, move on in the playoffs. But it all started with a comeback win against the Ravens. And these teams are they're in different situations this year. I'd say the Ravens are about the same. They're just contending for the number 1 spot in the AFC, but as are the Jaguars, who are 8-5 right now. And this is huge in terms of seeding for the AFC side of playoffs. But I think that this is kind of a hard game to judge. Recently, the Ravens have obviously been the more impressive team when they beat the Bengals. That the Chargers don't really matter. Beat the Seahawks convincingly, lost to the Browns. They've beaten the Lions, blew the Lions out earlier in the season. Just got a close win over the Rams, whose offense has been electric. But an offense that hasn't been super electric is the Jags offense. I know that Travis Etienne, he's cooled down as of late. Evan Ingram has been on fire, though. But they're also dealing with a banged-up Trevor Lawrence and really just a banged-up offense. I feel like anytime I log into Sleeper, it's just notifications about anybody on the Jags. Travis Etienne questionable, Calvin Ridley questionable, Trevor Lawrence questionable. So they've got some injury concerns, but I'd say that the Ravens don't really. Their offense has been clicking more consistently than the Jags. And so with that, I'm going to pick the Ravens. They are going in as favorites on the road. And apparently, Michael Pittman Jr. just died. I don't know what happened, but he might have just got speared real bad. I don't know what happened. You guys are going to have to tell me what happened because I'm not watching any of the games. But that's it for Sunday Night Football. Then we'll move on to the last game of the week, which is the Seahawks and the Eagles on Monday Night Football. I think that there's some kind of winning streak with the Seahawks over the Eagles. Let me double check that. I think the Eagles or the Seahawks have a win streak over the Eagles in their past few. Oh, he got DeMar Hamlin mobiled. So he got taken out by the ambulance. That's not good. That's real bad. That sucks. But we'll go back to the Eagles and Seahawks results. It is, so the Seahawks have a 7-game win streak over the Eagles. 7-game win streak over the Eagles. Will it continue? I don't know. They put up a good fight against the Cowboys a couple weeks back, and then the 49ers, kind of a close game. They still lost by 12, but they're also on a 4-game losing streak. So there's a couple rules in life, and one of them is you're either hot or you're due. And I'll tell you, the Seahawks are not hot right now. So they're due. But the Eagles are also 2 games in a hole after getting destroyed. Their secondary has been lackluster this season. And I think one of these teams has to snap their skid. And really, I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this one. I'm going to follow the win streak, the trend against the Eagles, And I think DK Metcalf is in for a big game this week, assuming he's playing. I got to make sure he's playing. Hold on. I don't think he's hurt unless Fred Warner's back of the head shot really fucked him up. Can we get some confirmation if this guy's playing? What league do I have him in? Team. DK, healthy, going against the Philly secondary, which is 32nd in terms of fantasy, which means they can't be good in real life. So give me the Seahawks over the Eagles, and that will close out our Week 15 predictions. So we will move on to the moment that everybody in here, all 7 people watching, have been waiting for. We are going to spin the wheel and see who is winning the NFL jersey giveaway. I got to step up to the monitor right here and spin the wheel. We'll go share screen, window, nope, tab, wheel of names. Is it up? It's up. Is everybody ready for this? I've been waiting. I've been pretty excited to see who wins. We've got about 30 something entries in this. Bro, no way you think the Eagles will lose 3 in a row? I think the Eagles are losing 3 in a row, bro. I didn't think that the 49ers would lose 3 in a row, but look what happened. Respin if it's not one of the 7. All right. Here we go. Ooh. And it's Emerson. Congratulations. Zay Flowers jersey coming your way. I think you just entered the giveaway yesterday. So congratulations, Zay Flowers. Good choice in player. Guy's a beast. But there it is. I wish I had he's like 12. I wish I had a graphic to put up on screen, but I didn't prepare for that. But Emerson, congratulations on your win. Hope you enjoy the Don't unsubscribe to my channel, please. I can't control it. I can't control it. But speaking of giveaways, and it's the season of giving, it's Christmas time. I actually one of my buddies, his name's Chris Kringle. I'm in cahoots with this guy Santa, and he's tasked me with a bit of a job here. It's been a bit of a hectic year for him. He can't really check over all the lists, and he wanted me to go over the list for NFL fan bases and what they're asking for Christmas. So I've got the list on my phone. He airdropped it to me when I went on my visit to the North Pole. So here are the NFL team Christmas lists. We're going to go in alphabetical order. I have no idea if they're on the naughty or the nice list, but we'll see based on what they're asking for. Starting with the Cardinals, they want to rebrand into an esports team for the remainder of Kyler Murray's contract. The Falcons are asking for Arthur Smith to stop fucking around, give his ball to the playmakers and not McCole Pruitt. The Ravens are asking for spare ACLs when their running backs need them after the offseason is over. The Bills want folding tables and lighter fluid. Panthers want literally anything to help Bryce Young develop into a QB that deserved to go number 1 overall and make their terrible trade with the Bears seem the slightest bit worth it. Well, that's a bit of a lot to ask for right there. The Bears want Madden X Factor development IRL so their draft picks can actually pan out. The Bengals want to stop playing like a Pop Warner football team in the first 3 weeks of each season. The Browns want bubble wraps to protect their players because holy shit, look at their injuries. The Cowboys want for the refs to go blind because they can't help but commit penalties every single game and shoot themselves in the foot. These are some interesting Christmas requests. The Broncos want for everyone to forget the fact that they let a team drop 70 points on their head this season. The Lions want kneecaps. The Packers want Christmas cards from their kids in Chicago. The Texans want the rights to the Oilers uniforms, even though they don't deserve them. The Colts want someone to protect their QB. The Jags want to stop getting shredded by backup quarterbacks. The Chiefs want a pacifier so Patrick Mahomes can stop crying and throwing temper tantrums to the refs. The Raiders want for Mark Davis to actually hire a decent head coach so they don't have to fork out any money for people who aren't involved with the team. The Chargers got their Christmas gift early because they wanted Brandon Staley to hit the unemployment list. The Rams want more fifth-round picks. The Dolphins want the NFL to rig their schedule to not play any winning teams. The Vikings want Kevin O'Connell to hide the playbook from Josh Dobbs every week since he plays better on short notice and no preparation. The Patriots want Tom Brady. The Saints want a left-handed Drew Brees to come play quarterback. The Giants want a time machine to undo the Danny Dimes contract. The Jets want Aaron Rodgers to undergo a Wolverine blood transfusion. The Eagles want another player in a trade that Howie Roseman shouldn't get away with, but he definitely will. The Steelers want an actual offensive coordinator. The 49ers want another weapon to pad Brock Purdy's stats. The Seahawks want to not play in the NFC West. The Buccaneers want a court ruling to grant the termination of Marshawn Lattimore's adoption of Mike Evans. The Titans want coffee with extra mayo, and the Commanders want a better team name. Well, I'll let my boy Chris know what's up. We'll see if we can get these guys what they want. I don't know how much say he has in the NFL seasons, but we are going to take a bit of a break right now. It'll just be a few minutes. I'm about to have another guest on, and I got to set up the studio for him. So there goes my phone. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a second. I wish I had some kind of intermission to play, but StreamYard won't let me do that. So hang tight. We'll be back. What's good from Ozzy? What's good? All right. I'll see you guys in a bit. We're going to have to pass this thing back and forth. A little bit of a unprofessional style looking stream, but I never claimed to be a professional. I'm just a guy who makes YouTube videos in his room and still goes to school, lives in his parents' house, so it's okay. We'll redo this. Might have to bring out our acting skills here to reenact our former questions, but let me go back to the intro. Let's take it from the top. Joining us is a guy who is good at every video game he touches. Not only a former Frontier Titan, but a Bakersfield College renegade. Ladies and gentlemen, notorious Tool and Slipknot fan and tight end at UNC Pembroke, Jaden Smith. Woo! Yeah! All right, well, we'll go back again. We won't spend too much time on it. Former Travis Kelce lookalike, I forgot to add, where is the famous beard that you see on the UNC Pembroke website when you look at the roster?
Well, I had the beard for well over a year, and I kind of just wanted to change it up a little bit, and I was kind of on the fence about it because I had some people telling me I shouldn't, because it's a good beard, but you see it when you see it every day, you get a little tired of it, you kind of want to switch it up. So I don't know, I was on the fence about it, but then one of my teammates and roommates had shaved his beard for his graduation, and he had his beard way longer than I had. And I was like, you know what? It's time. So I shaved it down to a goatee. I got told I looked like Stone Cold.
What?
Like Stone Cold. And I just eventually shaved it away. I mean, it's already growing back.
It's already going in better than mine.
It's already I'm like 3 days in, so we're good. But yeah.
3 days and that stubble is growing in. I've got about at least 3 weeks on this bad boy. I don't know if you guys see it. Let me get you guys a closer look on what we got going here. We got a little bit of patchy here, a little bit of patchy there. It's no Jaden Smith beard, but we're working on it. We'll try and let it grow. Let's go on to, let me grab the question here, make sure I word it correctly. So, first season at Pembroke, how'd it go? Hang on. Did it go according to how you wanted it? Did everything go according to plan?
So because I didn't get there into the summer, I didn't play a spring ball, like not even at BC. I kind of just did workouts like on my own. And really then I didn't really run routes or anything. So going into the summer, I was actually really out of shape, but I got a couple weeks of summer workouts to get back in shape for fall camp. And fall camp was tough. It was tough. Didn't know the playbook, didn't know anything. And we also got a new tight end coach who's also it was also his first year there. So and he told us straight up that we know tight end position more than he does because he played defensive end in high school. So yeah, it was a pretty rough fall camp, but when I was able to learn the playbook and stuff and got back into shape, had a good season. And also the team, we had some ups and downs, but we finished 7-3, barely missing playoffs. But the way the conference is, it's real tough because basically every team did really good. And also for our coach to come in and bring in a whole new staff and whole bunch of new players, and for us to go 7-3 and build a program that was really not going over 500, that's a big accomplishment. So yeah,
that's pretty good. So what were you guys before the
I think the season before we were 4-6.
Damn, that's a pretty good turnaround. Still a turnaround nonetheless. So you mentioned the you being out of shape. I guess that was a contributor into, beside from that, how was the adjustment moving from California to North Carolina and going from JUCO to D2 school?
So from California to North Carolina, it's obviously a huge difference with just the people you're around and the way they act and all that stuff. And I was the only one from like the California, I guess, area. I think like maybe Maryland was like the farthest anyone else was.
So there's like no
So yeah, I was like the only West Coast. Like no one. I mean, well, they'll change this season, but yeah, I felt pretty. I was pretty scared, but um, they're very welcoming. The coaching staff was very welcoming, and was able to make a new family. Um, but yeah, it was definitely a change, but I'm glad I did it. It's a good experience, and yeah.
How was the moving from JUCO to D2? Was there
Um,
a competitiveness change or a skill gap? Would you say, or because I know that there's been some guys coming out of here, I'll take it. I know there's been guys coming out of BC that were, they went on to play D1 ball. Like two of them went to San Jose State. I know one of them plays at University of Hawaii. So, is there a step up in, I guess, competition level moving from JUCO to D2? Is it easier? Is it harder? Or what would you say?
um, well, it's one thing I can say is that from JUCO to D2 is that at D2 it seemed like everyone there cares and like everyone wants to win. At JUCO, you have guys who it's like, you have guys who want to go on to the next level and play. You have guys who just want to play their JUCO years, and then you have guys who just want to spot on the team and just kind of look good with the football uniform and all that stuff. So I feel like at D2, like everyone cares, everyone wants to say like win a championship and all of that. And yeah, skill level, it's definitely different. I can't like I have to say it is, but it wasn't like shocking. Like it wasn't like I got there and I was like, holy crap, like these guys are really good. It was just you could just tell the game's faster, the everything is just faster, stronger, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's definitely a big change.
So you'd say that, I guess, how invested the players are, and yeah, how invested the whole team is probably goes into the intensity in each game and the step up in competition. So I guess what's your biggest takeaway from your passing season? I guess areas of improvement or favorite memory. Really, like, do you have, I guess, kind of just shooting off the top of my head right now a question, but I guess memories from the season, and I guess, yeah, I don't even really know how to word it. Yeah, you get it. Okay.
Um, yeah,
It's kind of a shitty question. I guess what are your takeaways from the passing season? What are you moving forward with moving into next
well, because so we had another tight end, and he had been with this coaching staff all 4 of his years. So he was real familiar with the program, the play calls, all that stuff. So there was no doubt that he was going to be the starter, but they still were going to work me in. And once I was able to learn the play calls and the playbook and all that stuff, and really show them like what I could do, I got like more playing time and stuff, and I was used more as a receiving threat. I would block, but it was more like it wasn't like I wasn't always in a 3 point stance, hand in the dirt blocking. I'd be like as a wing back. Like when we had two tight end sets, I was the wing or in the backfield, you know. Um, but yeah, we had, I guess it's kind of weird to say, but one of my favorite memories, I guess, from the season was, I think it was like week 6 or week 8. or week 6 or week 7, I mean. And we actually had, so we have a game on Saturday. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday practice, and Thursday is our last padded practice. So we get in, and we're in our special teams meeting. And anyways, two guys, DB and a running back, get into it and start fighting. Like no punches are being thrown really, just like a scuffle. And then everyone else started getting in on it, and then punches started to get thrown, and I don't know, it just kind of really escalated. And the DB, he was a transfer from a different school, from the previous school that the coaches were at, and the running back was at Pembroke. So that could have definitely done like something about it. Um, but anyways, they ended up getting in a scuffle, and our coach was like, "It's week 7, and like, we're he's like kind of freaked out. Like, our team is divided up. We're not together as a team." Anyways, we ended up beating the team that week 49-7. So, um, and that was our biggest like deficit that we had beaten somebody by. So, I say that's my favorite because after that we won all our games and they weren't close. So, I feel like if that happened earlier in the season, we could have had even a better season. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of, because also the fight happened right at my feet.
Oh yeah.
Like not even joking, like 2 feet away from me. So, and I didn't know why they were fighting. It just kind of happened. So yeah, it was weird. But and then after that, we just moved forward, and I felt like the whole team got closer, and then also like players got kicked off that week too. So like the I guess weakest links and people that don't contribute to winning. So
Well, I guess that kind of reminds me of like a little bit like Friday Night Lights, or not Friday Night Lights. Remember the Titans, like the constant fighting, and then they go and kick some ass. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so you mentioned you being more of a wing back and not having your hand in the dirt necessarily all the time. How does that compare to your time at BC in terms of, I guess, hand in the dirt style? Because I know there was a certain game in particular that I believe it was a game. I'm not sure. You'll have to follow it up, but yeah, what's the difference between you being more of a receiving type player at Pembroke compared to your time at Bakersfield?
um, I didn't feel like too out of place with it or like too weird about it. At BC, like they used me for everything. Hand in the dirt, wing back, backfield, put me out wide as a receiver, put me in the slot. Um, and I felt like I could do all of that pretty good. So I was comfortable with it. And then also, um, I've never played with another tight end that's like, I hate to say it, but good. So, um, but anyways, I've never played with another good tight end. So to have a senior and knows what he's doing and kind of, and he was also my roommate. So we were with each other every, yeah, Jeremiah. We were with each other every single day, like because we'd go to football, we'd go to football breakfast, lunch, dinner, all that stuff, and then we'd go home. So like uh, to have another tight end that was good and knew what he was doing made it really easy. And I know my coach had brought that up to me in my exit meeting with him. He was just like it was awesome to have both of us on the field at the same time because he loves his tight ends. Yeah. He's a big tight end guy. He's a Niners fan, sadly, but he loves his tight ends, and so it was really cool. Um, and I felt like also with Germ, I think he also never really played with a tight end. He played with tight ends who were good at blocking but bad at receiving, or tight ends good at receiving, bad at blocking, and he felt like I was able to do both of it. So it was really cool for him too. But sadly, we're only able to get one season in with each other. But I felt like he was definitely the better blocker, and I was, I guess, the better receiver. So that's just kind of how our roles played out, and it was really cool.
If you told Germ that you were the better receiver, would he agree? So yeah, you said that I guess you guys being roommates and you guys both kind of being together all the time, it helped you guys flow better, whether it was practice or game day. Which kind of segues me into the next question: is there a ritual you have on, like, I guess not ritual, is there a pregame thing that you do every week before a game, whether it's song or whatever? Is there something specific you do before every game? And I guess I'll make it more specific. What's a pregame song that you listen to?
So as far as pregame ritual goes, I wouldn't say I have a ritual of something I do. Um, but we do have our team meals, like team breakfast before each game, whether we're away or home. We still have an organized team meal, and then once we get into the stadium, we could just chill and hang out and stuff. So I will go into the weight room, like we have when we go away, it's a little more difficult. But when we're home, I'll go into the weight room and I'll just put on my own music, whether that's Slipknot or Tool, and I'll just do some band work and stretch out. And then we also have a team chapel before every home, or not home game, before every game. And every home game, our coach, his name's Coach Brooks, he'll come up and like talk to us, and we'll have prayer and stuff. And then each away game will a player will come up. It could be a different player, it could be the same player, um, as far as a ritual song, whenever we're getting like close to game time, that's when I start like listening to my actual, like, I guess, pump up songs. And I will have to say that it is "Break Stuff" by Limp Bizkit.
Oh yeah.
And more specifically the live Woodstock 99 version, because I don't know, that version is just it's a lot better. And but yeah, I'd say I listen to that song every single game. So
All right. That's actually not what I was expecting, honestly. I was expecting probably Before I Forget, or maybe Devil and I from Slipknot, something like that. But that reminds me, I guess, for the people watching don't really know, me and Jaden are pretty good friends, and we share a common interest in liking rock music. So I wanted to get your top 5 rock bands, I'd say, of all time. Oh, see, this guy knows what he's talking about. Rock or metal? Let's go metal.
metal. So my top 5, I mean, they get a lot of hate, but they're just the best, and that is Metallica at number 1. I mean, they have good music, they have bad music. That's
Great drummer.
if great drummer. Yeah. I mean, when you've been around for 40 years, you're gonna have bad music, and that's all right. But Metallica at number 1, and this is just my own personal opinion.
Yeah, it's all you.
But I'm a huge Slipknot guy, so I'm gonna put Slipknot at number 2. Um, and then I love Tool. They're just a different type of band. Like, I don't really listen to them before a game. They're just more like, I guess, a chill, more like metal band. So I'll put them at number 3. And then, oh man, I don't know. There's so many great metal bands, but you know what? I'm gonna have to back that up. Rage Against the Machine at number 2, then Slipknot, then we're gonna go to Tool.
Number 5. This is a big one.
Yeah, number 5.
People might get snubbed here.
I know.
I think I might be able to pinpoint who it might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'll see.
I mean, it's oh man. I don't know. Kind of put me on the spot with this one. This one's tough. Because I mean, this isn't. I don't think they're metal, but they're Christian rock. You know, you got Breaking Benjamin, you got Skillet. You know, those are two good bands. Um, but I guess for metal, I just got to go with System of a Down.
Oh, that's not who I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
What about? So I see in the chat we got Deftones by Drew, and then Creed. I don't know if they're metal. Creed's a great band though. They are. They are. I was expecting Limp Bizkit to come in at number 5. Honestly,
I love Limp Bizkit, but to be honest, I only know break stuff in my way. So
yeah. You say you do it for the nookie. Well, yeah. So okay, that's your top 5 metal bands. A little surprised. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I know like there might be some haters with the list I made. But I mean, at the end of the day, those top 5 artists that I just named, like they are way up here, you know. And then you got some guys like no, and then you got some guys. This isn't metal, but then you got some guys like Baby Keem, and then you got Baby Tron. You know, you just keep going lower and lower when you get to those guys. A lot of posers too, you know, like especially those blue collar men. They got some they are posers when it comes to music, man. That's just all I had to say.
Yeah, we won't name any names in terms of the of that, but we see one in the chat actually that I'm surprised I completely forgot about it is Korn. Where would does Korn not make your top 5, or is that just something that slipped your mind? Hey, these top 5s are hard. I know there's so many bands out there that is hard to put together. Korn at 5, and System of a Down is out. The top 10 surely would have been easier. Top 5 female artists. Ariana Grande number 1. Are we talking all genres, or are we talking just complete female artists? Because if so, surely you got to throw Cranberries. I think Janet Jackson is definitely worth a acknowledgement. Whitney Houston, of course. I feel like Michael Jackson. Oh, Megadeth also slipping the metal list. I guess since we're doing the top 5s, I'll throw my top 5 in there. Have to go number 1, Metallica. Number 2, I'd say Megadeth. Jesus. Number 3, Avenged Sevenfold. I would probably put in my top. Yeah, I don't know if this is necessarily an order to follow, but definitely within the top 5 are those 3. I'm a big Slipknot. I like Slipknot. I'd say I like Corey Taylor more than Slipknot. Maybe that might not be a popular opinion, but is it? I guess. Well, who's better, Stone Sour or Slipknot? Oh. Yeah. And I'll just throw another one in there. Let's go with Limp Bizkit. Let's go with Limp Bizkit. So, the reason Rainbow in the Dark only good from Corey Taylor, the cover version, these guys never heard Slipknot songs. He's never obviously he hasn't listened to Corey Taylor's solo work like CMF2. Okay, we kind of got to stop with the audio gone. I don't know.
let me make a call to my producer here. Make sure that the audio is all right. Hey, how's the audio sounding, Mr. Producer? But is it better now? You have it turned all the way up?
Because my mic was off. That'll do it. All right, thanks. Is it good now? Yeah, my mic was off. All right, thanks. All right, well, so the reason I was bringing up music, obviously I want to get in the minds of, as a football player, you got to have the right pregame song. Mine, I guess in my senior, because it used to be rap music, but in my senior years when I started really honing in on rock music, and Avenged Sevenfold was really my go-to band before games. But that's not completely the whole reason that I bring up music, because I actually have a gift for you. I actually want to bring something out here. It's more along the lines of music, but let me just grab it real quick. Is that a coaster? Oh my god. For those of you that don't know, Jaden is quite the Clone Hero player. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna have a live performance from Jaden himself playing Clone Hero for the stream. So let me hook this bad boy up, and we're gonna get ourselves a nice concert live and in person. Jaden Smith, baby. Don't worry about it, dude. You take that. Let me untwist this wire real quick. I gotta find the right USB port for this. I don't have any left. Oh shit. Alright. Let's go with
No concert.
there's gonna be a concert, okay? Figure this thing out. Stand by while we figure out these technical difficulties. You guys just saw every pore of my face. Jaden, why don't you keep the people entertained here?
Oh man. So I saw on here top 5 Fortnite landing spots, and I gotta say, it's gone now, but the OG map came back for a little bit. So I'm gonna do OG map, and when I say OG, I don't mean like day one. I just mean the OG map. So I'm number 1 best landing spot of all time, Salty Springs. Salty Springs, number 1, and then at a number 2, you've got Tilted Towers, you've got Retail Row, but I'm gonna have to go with Tilted Towers. And then at a solid number 3, we got Retail Row. You can never go wrong with these 3 spots. Yeah, some would say retail's better, but they're just not good enough to land at the towers. But anyways, and then at number 4, ooh, I gotta go Fatal Fields. Fatal Fields is really good. And then at number 5, I'm gonna have to go with Dusty Divot. Thank you.
Way to keep the people entertained on a whim. Guys, improv skills are just absolutely impeccable. What we're going to do here is we are now going to see the concert of Mr. Jaden Smith. Let me no, you don't have to stand up. Oh, scoot up? No, you're fine. If you want to, you can. Let me get these headphones dialed in for you. So you can hear the song that you want to play. I don't really know too much about copyright, but we'll see how that works out. Here you go, Mr. Sir. Oh yeah, you can just hear the music already. So I'm thinking, what song are we thinking? I'm thinking more of, maybe we'll start off with just let's show off his skills, but then we'll move to a challenge. So you're gonna have to adjust the timing on there. I don't know how yours is, but
Yeah. So
just don't let the people down.
I'm afraid about the time. Let's see what we got. How do I even go to this?
Guy's just gonna completely fuck my clone hero. I'd say that you have to hit the notes a little earlier than usual.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. You know what? How about we just?
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. A little bit of Metallica going on. By the way, these are all my percentages, not Jaden's.
Yeah, mine would be better.
There's an ongoing, I guess not really ongoing debate. But let's just say that
Which one's
the tapping one is that one, yeah. All right, here we go. Oh, I can hide it. Sorry. All right. Now performing one, Jaden Smith joining Metallica, taking Kirk Hammett's spot.
You said earlier, right?
Yeah. That's about how the timing works. Ooh. You just got to knock the rust off real quick.
Oh man. I get my finger ready for this.
Had to put you on the spot since there's a bit of a debate on who's the better clone hero player. Oh.
Oh. It's so weird.
I mean, the timing's pretty good for me. I don't think we could hear the audio for Clone Hero, but he is playing one by Metallica.
I don't know if you count if you play. What about a fail?
Yikes. This is just a lot of awkward silence and strumming on stream because there's no game audio. Boo! Everybody boo this guy. All right, let's see if we can figure this out. This stream is taking quite the turn for the worst.
That really threw me off.
Stop the screen. Share the screen.
Yeah, I think you forgot to share your window. That's why.
I did, but to share audio, share a tab or screen instead. Oh, I got to share the screen. All right, we'll go on there. Let's play a little bit of a shorter one, huh?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's...
All right, let's see how the audio is now. Hey, tell me if I have my computer, it's different.